So what you're going to see here is me conducting a strength test with pull-ups or chin-ups, I suppose. What I have is I basically made a video recording of two different sessions of chin-ups. Because I'm doing a strength test, I did them first in my workout. This is something to keep in mind. You don't want to do a strength test after you've already done other things, because your muscles, your strength, it's all part of the same system. So if you do squats or something first, it's definitely going to affect the strength that you have left, the resources you have left for your strength test. So do it first if you're going to be testing them. Okay. Now, what you'll see when I perform this strength test, is I try to keep the form as consistent as possible. I don't change it at all from what I would normally do in terms of the dynamic motion, but I do skip everything isometric. I just focus on the dynamic movement, because that's really the only thing that the video is going to be able to tell me. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to see whether I'm outputting more force if I were doing isometrics or something like that, right? But alternatively, you could do a pretty reliable strength test if you were to do a yielding isometric and get the same weight, hold it at the same angle, and just see how long you can hold it there and time it, right? And just whether that time increased would be another way to perform it. But here, this is an example of a dynamic strength test, and I really recommend recording it both times so that you can make a comparison, and you'll see why from the video. Okay, so the synced up beginning here, but you'll notice on the right side that I'm definitely going at a little bit faster cadence. Not on purpose, I meant to be going the same cadence, but it's just that felt slow and smooth and controlled on the day. And it's not, either one is an okay cadence. But this is why counting the reps can be misleading. Why it's a good idea to compare video. Okay, so you can see me approaching failure on both sides. My arms are shaking. It's getting a bit tough. I think that's the last one on the left side that I'm going to hit. Okay, I go up here and I stop. But on the right side, I'm able to complete that rep and go a little bit longer. Okay, so you can see I basically added a second. So hopefully from this, you can see how important it is to record yourself doing these strength tests if you're going to do them dynamically, because even if you're trying to do the set exactly the same, identical to the way you did it previously, and this was only a week apart. Imagine if you were doing it a month apart or something like that, right? It's very easy to subconsciously speed up a little bit because you want to beat your previous attempt or something like that. But if you're spending more time doing a set with the same amount of weight, right? If your body weight hasn't gone up or something like that, then that would be a good indication that you've gotten stronger, regardless of whether the reps have changed or something like that, right? And so you can see from this video that I did spend a little bit longer in the set than I did a week earlier. And a week is not a very long time to develop more strength, especially when you've been training for a long time. So, I'm pretty happy with that result. And the idea is just to slowly creep up, strength test after strength test to make sure that, my recovery is on point, my training intensity is on point, that I'm doing everything right. And, especially if you're at the beginning of your training journey, your exercise journey, right, you should expect to see strength gains pretty regularly, if not every time, every time you're doing a strength test. And if you don't see them, it's a good indication that your recovery might be off. You might not be training intensely enough. You might not be taking enough rest in between your training sessions, this sort of thing, right? Something else to consider is that you don't necessarily need a strength test every movement, right? Your single joint movements, like a bicep curl or something, they're not going to increase in strength as quickly because the muscle only has so much ability to develop and grow in strength. But compound movements like a chin-up, a pull-up, push-up, a squat, things like this, there you should see faster strength gains. And if it suits your schedule more, there's nothing wrong with basically choosing one of them and making that your strength test basis, right? So if you're particularly bothered about developing your chest and your pushing strength, right, you could just make push-ups your push-up strength or your strength test, or squats your strength test. And if you're basically training the same way for each of those movements, and your recovery is obviously uniform across them, then it would be more or less safe to assume that if one of them is increasing, that you're getting stronger overall. It's not perfect, but it is going to save you a little bit of time to do it that way. And you could alternate them in or out as you go. Okay, hope it's helpful.